Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Martina Trucco here at Micron Technology, and I am joined by Vice President and Director of Micron Virginia, Tim O'Brien, for this really interesting interview where we are going to be finding out a little bit more about what it's really like to be operating a manufacturing site during these unprecedented times. Tim, thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, great to be here. Great to get a chance to talk.
Tell us a little bit more about Micron Virginia and your role, and kind of help us sort of understand what the role of our team members in Virginia is inside the Micron network.
Well, Micron Virginia, we're a wafer fab. We're actually a wafer fab that Micron acquired in 2002. So we've been part of the Micron family for quite a while now. And we manufacture semiconductor memory and wafers. Actually, our focus is on long life cycle products. So products that go into automotive, industrial applications, networking, those are what we specialize in. Whatever, Micron has a leading position in that, and our memory helps supply that position. So we're pretty proud of that.
Those are obviously products that are really absolutely critical that they be reliable and that they can be counted on, particularly if we think about them in automotive and industrial applications.
Yeah, high quality is our number one focus for our team members here. We're really proud of our quality performance. And we're proud of just the experience and the employees we have that enable us to operate that way.
Well, and speaking of our employees, these are certainly unprecedented times that we're all going through. What has the team in Virginia been going through, and kind of how have we been responding to the crisis? Because I know that this must be a very different way to operate in. So tell us a little bit more about how things have changed for our manufacturing site.
Well, it's changed a lot. So, and I would just talk, we had the luxury here, if you call it that, of being part of Micron and being part of a global manufacturing that really watched this virus sort of walk around the globe. So we were able to take and partner with our factories in Asia, and who successfully managed to operate through this and take their best practices and implement them. So the site is operating quite a bit differently now. For those who are about 55% of our employees are working from home. And for those employees working from home, we're using technology like this, like Zoom, to communicate, to have meetings, to have one-on-ones. So that's a big change. And then for the 45% of our employees that work on the site, we absolutely have to make sure they are safe. So we message, if you don't feeling well, don't come into work. If somebody in your family is not feeling well, stay home, take care of your family. If you do come in, every employee gets scanned for temperature, make sure that nobody with a fever can come in site, and we wear masks. Social distancing, we've implemented what we call kind of red-blue protocol, which further separates the team. Really, it helps the team stay safe, being segregated. It helps them feel safe, helps them feel confident, like, okay, Micron's a safe place to go work at in these uncertain times, which has been really, really important for us to maintain morale, maintain the safety of our employees, and both on-site and the ones working remote.
Let's talk a little bit more about what you mean when you say red team, blue team protocol, because obviously this Micron has manufacturing sites all over the world. It sounds like this is something that we had actually implemented at other sites, and then we took some of those best practices and brought those to the site in Virginia. So let's talk a little bit more about what that means. How does that keep our team members safe on site?
Well, it's a way of keeping people isolated. So beyond standard social distancing, like 6 feet, beyond that, we break the team into different, depending on your job. You'll be in a rotational job, which part of your rotation, typically about 14 days, we work on site, 14 days off site. We also have different segments in the building. And so if you're part of one segment, you're allowed to use a certain group of common areas, bathrooms, break rooms, what entrance we go into, what entrance you go into the fab through. All of those are segmented so that even when you're on site, half of a work team will be segregated in one part of the building, the other half in another part of the building. That way, if if an event happens and we get the disease on site, that really helps us protect the workforce better, and it helps us with respect to making sure that we have continuity in our business plan.
Well, and I know that our technologies, of course, are critical because everything that you've been talking about in terms of, where these products are actually being used in the ecosystem is pretty important to keeping the world economy functioning during these times as well. So business
Yeah,
continuity is actually, it's not just something that we're looking at from the Micron perspective, really has an impact on sort of the broader ecosystem and kind of keeping the economic engine running.
absolutely. Zoom, all these activities require the cloud, require the data centers to be operating. Data centers are growing fast. They need products. The infrastructure in terms of connectivity needs to be there. Our products are probably needed now more than ever, actually, in keeping the world going.
Yeah, well, and I imagine that you must be incredibly proud of the team there in Virginia because it sounds like they've been really weathering these changes really well. Can we talk a little bit more about some of the things that the team there locally is doing to kind of help support the response and the relief efforts to COVID-19? Because I know that, many of you who are following us have seen that Micron has committed over $35 million
Mhm.
in terms of COVID response and relief efforts in our communities around the world. But we're also seeing these incredible contributions that our team members are making at all of our sites to help out our local communities. So I thought maybe it'd be nice for us to talk a little bit about that, Tim.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, part of the funding will go to Virginia. We fund the Northern Virginia Community Alliance COVID Fund, and our team members are encouraged to give to that fund. They support food, shelter, um, you know, kind of standard living supplies to the community. So we support that. Also, our site has a charity of choice called ACTS that really represents elderly, people that need care, and so we support them with funding for a charity of choice, as well as they've got some virtual volunteering protocols. So we can actually um, have a virtual conversation with somebody who's in an assisted living care facility, who visitors can't go see them now. Um, Along with that, we've also been actively really just partnering with VDEM, Virginia Department of Emergency Response, in terms of making sure that we're supplying them with needs they have for PPE, for cleaning chemicals to give to the hospitals, just to really help make sure that our capacity in Virginia is ready for the surge.
Well, I think I even saw some photographs recently of team members who were moving out some chemicals that we have that can actually be used, that are being used by a local distillery to make sanitizer. Isn't that right? Which is something that's also
Yeah.
in short supply.
Yeah. IPA is a chemical we use a lot of, and which, so we've been able to donate IPA, we've been able to donate hydrogen peroxide. I mean, these are really important chemicals. Of course, hospitals are having trouble getting those chemicals, and we're able to, fortunately, really be able to support the community with that.
It's pretty amazing. It really sounds like we're putting kind of the full strength of Micron's capabilities behind the efforts here. It's
Yeah,
uh, it's interesting to note too that you mentioned that you've been working with the sort of local officials. Can we talk a little bit more about how you've been working with the Virginia Governor's Office? Because I know that there's been obviously close
yeah.
collaboration there. I understand that they had actually been really looking to us as sort of real leaders in the state in terms of how we put protocols in place to protect the staff. So I thought you might talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I'd love to. So we've been, Micron globally has been at the tip of the spear with COVID-19 for a while. So we were able to take and implement, of course, those best practices at our facility in Manassas, but we also were able to share what we're doing with the governor's office, specifically Secretary of Trade and Commerce, Brian Ball, about things that we're able to put in place, such as the temperature screening protocol, the red blue team we talked about, um, social distancing protocol, and how that's worked to keep our factories moving. Of course, um, Brian had us talk to other businesses in Virginia just really share these practices with them, and just to help keep it going. Um, and then, that conversation with Brian really turned into VDEM reaching out to us and getting into contact with the Department of Emergency Management leadership. And really that helped us understand really what is their issues and their concerns with PPE. Really plug in Micron's global procurement team to help us procure PPE that they needed in Virginia, which was a huge benefit. And so as we went through that and had those conversations, it's just a real honor for me to get a call actually from Governor Northam, just thanking us for the support, thanking us for the support in the community, for helping keep our employees safe, and also just for helping other companies in Virginia, which a lot of times, you know, as we met with other companies, we don't really talk about things a lot, but this is not really a competitive issue. It's more of a life safety issue that affects all of us.
I think that's incredible to hear that, in this time, companies really are setting all those things aside and really looking to just think about how we keep our communities safe. It's really great to hear that you guys have been able to kind of have some real leadership there and have that sharing happening among the business community, which is incredible.
Yeah.
So maybe let's just wrap things up, Tim, here by talking a little bit more about, how the team's doing. How have people really responded from our Micron Virginia team in terms of the changes? How are they feeling with things, and how have they been really responding to all of the protocols and things that we've had to put into place as these things have evolved?
Yeah. Well, as you can imagine, it's an emotional time as people are kind of gone through kind of different phases of fear, now more understanding, having a little better understanding of how this virus operates. Um, but honestly, the feedback I've got from the team, and I asked this actually at a all leader meeting that we held last week. The feedback I'm getting is actually communication seems better now than it's ever been. Communication from me to the team, from teams to their teams, as we've adopted these technologies, has really allowed us to be able to communicate a lot easier, quicker. We're finding we're able to make decisions faster because really everybody's kind of just chipping in on a leadership standpoint. So the folks working from home are able to manage any sort of challenges we have in our factory remotely. The folks on site are, if they bring up a concern they have, a concern about area congestion or cleaning or whatever, we're able to respond to that within minutes, not hours or days, and just help make the site safe for the team that's there, that has to go to work, and the team that's working from home, that they can feel value added, that they are actually accomplishing their jobs every day. So actually, surprising as it may be, the site's operating pretty well and the team's pretty engaged. I was really impressed with the technology and what's enabled us to do.
What sounds like that's been a great silver lining to come out of this is to see just how the team's been able to pull together. Do you think this is something that's fundamentally going to change for the better as we come out of this crisis? Are these lessons that we're learning that we can kind of put into place as we go back to hopefully normal sometime soon?
Absolutely. I think that, it's absolutely changed a lot of point of view in terms of remote work, what you can do remotely, change the operation. I would expect there'll be some level of this, kind of remote work. It changes our whole perspective, maybe in terms of things like work-life balance, and ability to really say, I can actually have a high-performing factory and allow flexibility both. You can do both. So it's a surprise. It absolutely, I think, is going to change. The new normal is going to be different than the old normal.
It's pretty incredible. I think you must be super proud of the team. We certainly are. It's amazing to hear all of this great work. Really, just applaud all of you for the leadership there at Micron Virginia. We're so proud to hear about all the amazing things that the whole team is doing to help support the community and support each other and kind of come through these challenging times. Tim, thanks so much for joining us. And, we will feature another one of our Micron executives soon on this series because I think there's some amazing stories that we get to tell here. So thanks so much for joining us, Tim.
Thank you very much.